get straight to the point about this episode. I fucking love martial arts movies. I mean, as you can see, I have a shitload of martial arts movies. From Bruce Lee movies, Jet Li movies, Jackie Chan movies, and Tony Jaa movies. So I'm never short of martial arts movies. And because I love martial arts movies so much, I love the company Hong Kong Legends. This DVD is called An Introduction to Hong Kong Legends. It has everything you need to get started. It has an awesome movie called Hitman starring Jet Li. No, that has nothing to do with the video game Hitman. It has a shitload of trailers for other awesome martial arts movies. Well, except that one, but we're not going to go into that much detail. And a nice documentary about what Hong Kong Legends is all about. So in my efforts to try and come across as many martial arts movies as possible, I was bound to come across one rather odd title. Game of Death 2, starring Bruce Lee? Oh, come on, man! Bruce Lee's not even in this fucking movie. This movie was made after the first Game of Death, and we all know that he was fucking dead after that one. So let me get this straight. We have another movie that has Game of Death in the title, and it claims to star Bruce Lee. He's not even in this fucking movie, except for stock footage. And most of the stock footage is taken from fucking Enter the Dragon. Some of it's taken from Fist of Fury, some of it's taken from fucking Way of the Dragon. You know, but he's not in this fucking movie. But some of you may be wondering, is it a good movie? Well, not really. I mean, for one thing, let's just get to the main point of this, the problem with this movie, right? The plot is a fucking mess. The first half hour involves Billy's friend getting killed and him trying to find out who killed him, and then he winds up dead trying to find out. And then the second half of the movie involves his brother Bobby trying to avenge his death. So it's like once the first half of the movie's over, it feels like a new plot is suddenly submerged and we're watching an entirely different fucking movie. But not only that, this movie is filled with random points which don't go anywhere. For example, there's a scene in the movie where Billy goes to see this girl, who's the daughter of the guy who got killed, to find a lead. We never see her throughout the rest of the fucking movie. She gives him a box which has apparently got some sort of evidence, and we never see what is inside this fucking box. So what was the point of that? Other than maybe a fight scene. And in that fight scene, the double who's supposed to be Bruce Lee breaks a fucking light with a huge high kick. Like, conveniently, almost as if they're trying to hide his face. Well, I can tell you this, it didn't fucking work! I could still see the double's face. But yeah, the other plot holes. In the second half, there's a scene where Bobby is snooping around this castle area for some reason, and we don't know why he's sneaking around, we don't know what he's looking for. Then he winds up getting attacked by some guy, we don't know who the fuck it is, and we don't know why he's attacking him. And then he just runs off, and then the next day, he talks about it for like 10 seconds, and then he never mentions it again. There was no point in that scene. It went on for like 1 minute. They could have just cut that bit out and left it. But the main problem with the plot was the ending. The guy who got killed at the beginning of the movie apparently is still alive, and the reason why he faked his own death is because he traffics drugs and he doesn't want people to follow him because they won't have any reason to follow him if they think he's dead. Where did this come from? There was nothing involving drugs or drug trafficking or anything like that mentioned at any point throughout this fucking movie. So, where the fuck did this come from? Couldn't they have come up with something that had more to do with the fucking plot? The other problem with this movie, which is a huge fucking problem, is that it claims to star Bruce Lee when he is not in the fucking movie. The only parts that involve Bruce Lee are the stock footage. And you can tell when they're using stock footage, because in many cases, the stock footage doesn't even match the background. Not only that, in many cases, the film grain doesn't even match. You know? But not only that, whenever you can always see the double's face half the time. Admittedly, it's not as bad as Game of Death, but in Game of Death 2, you can still see the double's face. I'll give him this, they tried to cover it up a little bit better this time, but you could still see his bloody face. So, no, you're not fooling anyone! So as we have established, the plot is a fucking mess, and the stock footage and the double did not fucking work to begin with. The next fucking problem I have with it is, why is it called Game of Death 2? It has nothing to do with Game of Death, no relation. In fact, it was only the English dub that changed the main character's name to Billy Lowe. Otherwise, it has no fucking connection. It has nothing to do story-wise or anything. It doesn't leave off, it doesn't have any sort of relation to the first one. So why was it called Game of Death 2? In fact, there's an alternate title to this movie. It's called Tower of Death, which would have been a far more fitting title. The movie would still be shit, but it would have been a far more fitting title. Now that I've gone through all the ranting about why this movie fucking sucks, I can say there are things about it that were good. Number one, the fight scenes are amazing. The choreography is some of the best I've ever seen. It was so well done. Choreography is fluent and perfect. In fact, the choreography in this movie was done by Hyun-Woo Ping, who did the choreography for Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, and he also did the fight choreography for the Matrix movies. So if you're going to make a martial arts movie, you gotta get that guy. He's fucking amazing. Another good thing about the movie is that for the guys, you get a scene of full frontal nudity, which is awesome. Moving on. And then right after the full frontal nudity, you get a Kung Fu lion. How awesome is that? It's like the Kung Fu lion just sort of jumps out of fucking nowhere, and then it's obviously fake. You know, it's obviously a guy in a costume, but that's what makes it so fucking funny. And the fact that they had the idea of a Kung Fu lion is awesome. Then he smashes it in the face with a chair, which is awesome. And I will say this, the last 20 minutes of the movie is epic. It's just fight scene after fight scene after fight scene. So he goes down into the Tower of Death, which is built down into the ground, which is more like a basement, if anything. But whatever. Then he fights a bunch of guys in silver jumpsuits and kicks some of them into pools of acid. Then this sliding door opens up, and Fred Flintstone comes out of there. Well, at least he looks a bit like Fred Flintstone. He's wearing the fucking leopard print skin for clothing. Then the guy runs at Bobby with a giant crate, and then Bobby jumps and kicks through the giant crate and kicks him right in the face. Then he has to go through a hallway without touching the floor because the floor would fucking fry him and make him explode. So he has to fucking throw ropes and climb ropes and shit to get through there. Then he goes through to the other room, fights a guy with a spear, and he never even gets scraped once. Then the final boss turns out to be the guy from the beginning of the movie, and the fight goes on for like 10 fucking minutes. I'm not joking, 10 fucking minutes. And it is epic. The choreography is amazing. So, even though this movie has major issues in the title front, and it also has major issues in the plot, because the plot is a random fucking mess, and it just is random as fuck, and it makes no sense in some places, and they had to give themselves the baggage of claiming to star Bruce Lee, when all it was stock footage and a double. So, if you like martial arts movies, and you're looking for something really weird, then check this out. Why not? It's got good fight scenes in it, it's got a Kung Fu lion, and you get some full frontal nudity. So, I give this movie 2 stars out of 5. I'm surprised that throughout all this, you know, we have all these different genres of movies. We have nunsploitation, action-sploitation, and in this we get Bruceploitation. Yes, a movie that cashes in on an actor's death. And this was not the only one. There were tons of them. There was fucking The Dragon Lives Again, fucking Exit the Dragon, Enter the Tiger, Bruce Lee Fights Back from the Grave, clones of Bruce Lee, and that's not even all of them. There was loads more. So maybe at some point I will get to reviewing maybe one of those movies. I don't know when. No. So thank you very much for watching this episode of Dragon Cars Movie Vault. Hopefully I'll have another episode up soon, and well, hopefully I'll see you then. See you later.